gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you to the January 17, 2017 Altadena Town Council meeting. It is hereby called to order. All right, for the Pledge of Allegiance, I think we have Councilmember Musson, please.
Indeed. I'm patriotic myself. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. A roll call by the recording secretary.
Yes, good evening to the community. I am handling the roll call for Miss Judy Matthews. Miss Ann Coleman.
Here.
Mr. Nestor De La Torre.
I believe he's out of town. He may have forgotten to email a request for an excuse.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. Our chair, Okorie Ezieme.
He's not excused.
Present. I did not receive anything from Nestor.
I didn't as well, and I asked Judy as of today whether or not there was anything, and she said no, so.
Okay. That would be unexcused absence.
I'm here, Mr. Damon Hobdy. Ms. Jennifer Lee.
Here.
Mr. Billy Malone. Here. Billy. Ms. Judy is excused. Mr. Brent Musson.
President accounted for.
Yes. Mr. Justin Robertson.
Here.
Ms. Gloria Shanika. Ms. Patricia Sutherlen.
Here.
Ms. Sylvia Vega.
Present.
Mr. John White.
Present.
Mr. Dean Cooper.
Here.
Ms. Ann Lansing.
Here.
And Ms. Diane Markison.
Here.
Did I miss anybody? No. We have a quorum at 13.
Thank you so much. The agenda for tonight, I'd like to...
Inquiry, please.
I'm going to turn it over to you.
A parliamentary inquiry, please.
Yes, what is it?
I asked for new business to be added to the agenda, and I would like to ask the chair why new business was not added to the agenda.
You are out of order. You are out of order.
Point of order, that I am not out of order. You've started talking about the agenda.
Councilwoman, you are out of order. The agenda needs to be presented by the person responsible for that before you can respond to the agenda. Okay? All right. The vice chair is in charge of the agenda. You just present the agenda.
So, as everyone knows, the executive committee meets on the second Tuesday of every month, and the executive committee consists of myself, Damon Hobdy, our chair, Okorie Ezieme, Mr. Billy Malone, Ms. Patricia Sutherlen, and Judy Matthews. And the agenda was that's set before you was made up by the executive committee at our meeting and presented to the community, and is presented to the community tonight.
Parliamentary inquiry.
He's not done yet. You will be recognized, but he's not done yet. You
I can ask a
interrupt-
parliamentary inquiry anytime, and I am in the section of the agenda called agenda.
You are interrupting someone that has the mic and that has the time to speak. You will be recognized when he's finished.
And so the items that were set forth on the agenda were properly presented and approved by the executive committee and presented to the community. And so at this particular point in time, I'd like to make a motion that the January 17, 2017 agenda that's presented to the community.
Parliamentary
Don't make the
inquiry and
motion.
point of order.
Okay, At this point, you may speak because he's presented his
I have asked.
agenda.
Thank you, Chair,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
So we can be in order.
No, okay.
Second.
Yeah, it's been moved and seconded, then you may move.
Thank you. I asked for new business to be put on the agenda, and I would like to ask the reason why the executive committee did not put new business on the agenda. I sent in my request in plenty of time 8 days ago, and there was plenty of time to have new business added to the agenda.
Thank you so much for the inquiry. The agenda that is set before you, your request for a new business, just an item, new business, is inappropriate, is very vague, and you did not say what that new business was. So we had no way to be able to put an agendized item below a new business item. And it has been the operation of this council to put new businesses under special presentation or for the council members under the census tract report if it is something that is specific to the census tract. If it is something that has to do with the entire council, the executive committee is always been of the opinion that at that point, the information will be presented, but it has to be specifically identified. You did not present to the executive committee the information or the item that you would like to discuss about. So it was very vague, and the Executive Council responded back to you as such.
Mr. Chair, is it your decision not to put new business on the agenda?
It is not my decision. It is the decision. It is the agenda is put together by the Executive Committee. If you go to your bylaws, which I'm sure you have, the bylaws specifically states that the agenda is put forth by your executive committee. And I know the other area that you want to go into, which we should not be going into at this point, but I'll allow you to get there if that's what you would like to do before we move on.
Point of order. There is no provision in our bylaws or in Robert's Rules of Order that gives the executive committee the right to vet or to have even ask for what the topics are to be under new business. In fact, until 4.5 years ago, new business was a regular agenda item, and it was usually open with no topics listed. Furthermore, and even more importantly, our bylaws do not specify a, standard order of business. And where the bylaws are silent, then we refer to Robert's Rules of Order. And Robert's Rules of Order specifies a standard order of business, which includes unfinished business and new business. And I can read from you, from Robert's Rules of Order, what they say about that. If you will give me a moment.
If I can chime in on this, we met on Tuesday from 7 to approximately 10 p.m. in the evening, and when your issue was brought up, we all came to consensus that we had no idea what you meant. If there was a reference that you were going to make to Robert's Rules of Order, or more specifically to something else, we would have properly considered that. But when you tell the executive committee that you want an item on the agenda entitled New Business, we have an obligation to the community, we have an obligation to the council members not to waste time. And we want to make sure that we present an appropriate agenda that specifically identifies exactly what's going to be discussed to the community, so that, one, we don't waste time, and number two, the issues are properly discussed and presented to the community. We will take that up at our next executive committee meeting, for the purposes of discussing what you just brought up. But it wasn't properly presented. If you're specifically referring to the bylaws and specifically referring to the time, then you should have specifically set forth what you intended to present, and you did not. And for that reason, I don't think it's appropriate that we have that on the agenda at this point in time.
I appeal.
May I have the floor?
Okay, I think what we're going to do, because we have things that we need to deal with.
I appeal the
will
decision of
allow-
the chair. I appeal the decision of the chair, and that is a motion that takes precedence over anything else.
You are
may I
interrupting
have a
the chair,
second? Will someone second?
there's nothing there.
I have a second.
There is someone already about to speak.
I am allowed to interrupt when I appeal the decision of the chair.
No, you are not.
Yes, I am.
You may proceed, sir.
If you want to start quoting Robert's Rules of Order, you would realize that the first, second, and third times that you interrupted the chair, you did not have the floor. So the floor was not yielded to you, and you continued to speak. So next time you want to pull Robert's Rules of Order for the purpose of interrupting the meeting, make sure that you read them very carefully.
Thank you.
Secondly, the idea of a new business, I believe it's under section 11, Article 11 of Robert's Rules, probably around 64, 65. Is that what you're talking about? I'll give you time to take a look if you want. But there's nothing in there that says that you can
It's
put a
under
new
Chapter
business
11
that.
and Section 40.
Okay, there's nothing in there that says that the committee that sets up the agenda is obligated to put a blank section on the agenda that says new business. What it does say is that the body may have handle business in new business in one of two ways. And this isn't the opportunity for you to respond. This is the opportunity for me to teach you a little bit about Robert's Rules. So
You don't need to teach me about Robert's
I'm
rules.
sorry, I have
it
the floor.
right here.
Excuse me, I have the floor. I also have Robert's Rules right here and right here online as well, okay? So now let me just share this with you. There are two ways that Robert's Rules can come into play when it comes to new business. One is that you can have something brought to the committee that sets the agenda, and that item that you bring can be agendized. That's one way to handle it. The other way, which is an option, is that we can call for new business, and then you can give new business at that time. Neither one of those cases call for an agendized item that says new business that has no agendized item attached to it. Okay, so if at the end of the meeting, the chair decides to ask, is there any new business? Then you can handle new business that way. As an agendized item, you bring it to the subcommittee that handles that. Now, let me just go one step further, if you'll indulge me for just a moment. What we're dealing with here right now is precisely the issue that you and I talked about on the phone when I talked to you about serving on the executive committee. This is the executive committee and the council itself are a body of volunteers. We're not being paid for this. We volunteer to do this. And certainly we're not perfect. And you have every opportunity to address issues that you have. With each of us individually, you have our email addresses, you have our phone numbers, you have access to the executive committee, you have access to everybody within this group, individually and corporately. This evening, Tuesday, the third Tuesday of every month, is our opportunity to allow the public to have their time. This is when law enforcement gives its presentation to the community that's present and also on camera. This is the time when recommendations that come from land use come to this committee and they are here for public forum. This is not the time for you to deal with issues that you have personally that can be dealt with offline. If you have an issue that you need to deal with, I suggest you deal with each.
I have been unsuccessful.
Excuse me, I have the floor. You haven't talked to me about any issue that you have. So apparently you haven't talked to everyone about whatever issues that you have. So I suggest that you deal with these issues in the appropriate manner and not come to this public forum and try to override the process of the meeting with Robert's Rules of Order, especially when you don't seem to know Robert's Rules that well. I concede the floor.
Mr. Chair, I am
Yes.
offended by the condescending tone of Mr. Musson, Councilmember Musson. I have tried to reach out to executive committee members. I never got a call back from one of them. The chair has spoken with me on the telephone, and I am grateful for that. But I have tried to get items on the agenda and have been refused several times. And one way that I can bring up matters is in a section of the agenda called New Business, and it is bizarre not to have new business on our agenda. It is a standard order of business. In every business meeting, they have new business. And I can read to you from Robert's Rules why, stating specifically that we need to have new business on the agenda. And it's a disgrace that we haven't had it on the agenda for 4.5 years. I appeal the decision of the executive committee and the chair. Do I have a second? I did have a second. And now there's a certain protocol to follow. I ask the chair to follow the protocol.
Okay, you appeal.
The protocol, if I may remind the chair, the protocol is the chair gives his reasons first for why he is not putting new business on the agenda. Then I get to speak about why I think new business should be on the agenda, and any other council member can speak to the issue. Then the chair speaks again to counter any of the arguments he has heard, and then a vote of the assembly is taken as to whether to sustain the chair's decision not to put new business on the agenda or whether to override the chair's decision. Mr. Chair, I await your comments.
Thank you very much. This is really a very simple matter. The town council has new business on the agenda at every town council meetings. Even tonight, everything on the agenda that you're looking at, right after the public safety reports, everything is pretty much new. And the town council agenda should not be open-ended. A category new business, even per the Robert's Rules of Order that you're referring to, is a guide. The bylaws are very specific. The agenda for the Altadena Town Council is set by the executive committee. The executive committee takes requests from the community, from the council members, and that the executive committee did. You asked to put a new business with nothing specific, open-ended. No one knows what you want to talk about. If it is something that concerns the community, no one knows. So it is not prudent for this body to entertain a blanket, and as a matter of fact, we have it special presentation. It is there. You did not provide anything whatsoever. And I challenge you also now to say one specific thing that you requested of this executive committee in terms of getting on the agenda that was not dealt with.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To answer your last question first, I asked for the September meeting for donations to be put on the agenda. They were not. Holiday donations was not put on the agenda, and I asked for that. That's one example. Now, with regard to Robert's Rules of Order, if I may read, the customary or standard order of business comprises the following subdivisions. 1, reading and approval of the minutes. 2, reports of officers, boards, and standing committees. 3, reports of special committees. 4, special orders. 5, unfinished business and general orders. 6, new business. In organizations that have adopted this book as a parliamentary authority and that have not adopted a special order of business, this series of headings is the prescribed order of business for regular meetings. unless the periods intervening between consecutive regular meetings are usually more than a quarterly time interval. And furthermore, let me read page 360 on new business. After unfinished business and general orders have been disposed of, the chair asks, is there any new business? Members can then introduce new items of business or can move to take from the table any matter that is on the table in the order in which they are able to obtain the floor when no question is pending, as explained in 3 and 4. So long as members are reasonably prompt in claiming the floor, the chair cannot prevent making of legitimate motions or deprive members of the right to introduce legitimate business by hurrying through the proceedings. New business is the place where members have a chance to bring in new business and make motions. Without a section called new business, there is no way for a member to have a voice on this council. And may I remind the chair and Councilmember Markison that 4.5 years ago, when you were both members on the council, open-ended new business was on the agenda every month. It was Chairman Brodus that took new business off the agenda. And the new business was open. People did not have to say ahead of time what their topic was going to be. And the chair would ask, does anybody else have new business? And anybody could bring up a topic for discussion or make a motion. And you are witnesses to that. What else do I have? Let's see.
Well, is that enough? I mean, are we?
It's my turn. I still have the floor. Regarding vetting, the chair told me, the chair wanted to know what my topic was so that the executive committee could vet. That's not even done when people are following the Brown Act. The reason for knowing what the topic is, if you're adhering to the Brown Act, is just so that people reading the agenda ahead of time know whether they want to come to the meeting, whether it's going to be boring or not. And it's just outrageous. It's unfair and not proper that the chair and the executive committee want to vet. They want to vet, actually approve of or disapprove of the topic that I want to bring up. This is not fair, and the council members need to have a voice and not leave all the decisions up to in the hands of the executive committee. Thank you. I yield the floor.
Thank you so much. Would you like to speak? If not, we're going to get. I'll entertain us voting on that.
Just for a brief moment. I think, because I think it's important, number one, we've taken now 25 minutes of law enforcement's time to go through this, and this is one of the reasons why we like to discuss this stuff offline. But there are several ways that people can get things onto through the executive committee. I know you've been a number of times up to talk about it. Just as a point of information, getting the donations on the agenda was to make sure that we didn't upset you like we did the previous year. You wanted to control that. So what we did was we didn't give any money to anybody. That was the solution to that. So hang on. So all I want to say is that I think what I would like to do is see if we can, I quite frankly, now am confused about, are we voting on Ann's motion first or Damon's motion, both of which have been seconded, but I'd like to call for a vote because this is a waste of time, quite frankly.
Thank you so much. The motion that is, there's an appeal of the executive committee's decision regarding the agenda, and it was properly seconded. So we will take a vote on that to see if that's going to carry. All right?
Which motion? I'm sorry.
This is the motion that appealed the executive committee setting of the agenda for today.
So, I'm sorry, the
since the-
appeal takes
May I have the floor?
precedence.
That's what she said. They're going to.
May I have the floor?
1 minute.
Yeah, since the call for the vote wasn't seconded, I just want to take just one moment to just point one thing out before we take the vote on Councilperson Coleman's appeal. What she's asking for, council members, is not new business section. What she's asking for is a miscellaneous section.
That's right.
She's asking for a section that doesn't actually have any agendized items. And what we've seen, frankly, in the past from this particular council member is an opportunity to snipe other council members. Call for order, please. And the the idea of bringing questions to the council that could be handled by email or in person, and preparing in advance, doing all of your research in advance, bring out Robert's Rules of Order, bring out the town council bylaws, going across the internet and looking for whatever ammunition you can, and then presenting that in public to and expecting someone to defend themselves against that is not in the spirit of what this volunteer organization is about. So what we have here actually today is an example of that. So Councilman Ezieme, the chair, was certainly not apprised of the idea that he would have to defend himself over Robert's Rules of Order on this particular topic. And so if this were an agendized item, he would have had the opportunity to prepare himself like Councilperson Coleman did. The idea of having a miscellaneous item on the agenda is improper, and it's not called for in Robert's Rules of Order. Our bylaws, by the way, supersede Robert's Rules of Order, and those bylaws actually call for the executive committee to set the agenda. It's clearly in our bylaws, and it supersedes Robert's Rules of Order. So what the executive committee does by what, as you call, vetting these things, is they're doing what our bylaws ask them to do, which is set the agenda. Now, if you want to change the bylaws, we have a process right now that's going on to change the bylaws. It's fully inclusive.
If you don't mind, your minute is over. I want us to get to this. I was aware of this, and I am quite prepared of this. I'm also a student of the Robert's Rules of Order, and the last comments that you made were very, very appropriate. The bylaw supersedes this. This is nothing but a guide if nothing else exists. So it tells you, you read the minutes, you take the roll calls, you attend to old businesses, you get to new businesses, only if nothing else exists. So this is a little schooling for some people, because I'm also a student of this. So the executive committee did what it was mandated to do, which is to come up with the agenda. And if someone did something one way in the past, and that doesn't mean that we have to follow that way, we have made proper provisions for this body to hear the new items, and that is under special presentation, which you may call new businesses. That is the way that it is. And having said that, I think we've said enough about this, and there is, and we are prepared to move on with the vote that is on the that has been presented, which is
the chair hasn't asked if anyone else wants to make a comment.
The point of order, I'm still speaking. I'm
allowed to interrupt you. If you're ready to call for a vote, I'm allowed to interrupt you.
We called for a vote already, and there was an unreadiness, and that's what we did. So there is an appeal of the executive committee agenda presented before you, before the council, and it was properly seconded, and let us move forward and take care of that. The last yield was to the.
Wait. If this is going to turn into some angry people, then let's make sure that apparently somebody else wants to speak. Maybe it's John. I don't know. If Ann wants you to call to see if anybody else wants to speak during the discussion of the motion, then let's just move, let's do whatever we.
Thank you for that recommendation. It is the privilege of the Altadena chair. When I yielded to the last council members, it is within my privilege to say, okay, let's move forward. So we will take on the appeal, and that was seconded. So if the council members want to appeal and the agenda as prepared by the executive committee, you have your chance to do so. So I would like to take that vote. If you want to appeal it and
Well, let me ask, I don't know what the appeal is for. There was no decision by the executive committee saying that that item would never be presented on the agenda. The executive committee asked you what you meant, so I don't think we can have an appeal of a non-denial. So
The appeal-
I think it's inappropriate to have an appeal at this point in time.
Mr. Chair, may I clarify? The appeal was for, to overrule your decision to not put new business on the agenda today, on today's agenda. So if people, so the vote would be, do the council members sustain the chairman's ruling to not put new business? So yes would mean agree with you, no would mean agree with me.
And if I might, I know I'm out of order probably. When we ordinarily do our agendas, we ask if anyone has any amendment to the agenda. And we would have done that, 20 minutes ago, half an hour ago.
Okay.
And if someone had brought up, I'd like to add an item for new business, then we would have had a motion for a second. Then we would have had some discussion about why you want to put that on there. And then we would have voted on the amended agenda one way or the other. So, this is,
Okay,
It's a
just
lot more
very,
complicated than
very last comments on this. We are not going to continue to discuss this. We need clarification on what we are voting on, and what we are voting on is to appeal the decision. That's exactly what the councilwoman Ann Common requested. So I'm going to ask her clarify it one more time so that we can take a vote on that and be done with it. Straightforward, clarifying what you mean.
Yes, the appeal was to the decision to not put new business on the agenda. So a yes vote means you agree with the chair and the executive committee to omit new business from the agenda. A no vote means yes, means put new business on the agenda. A no vote with me, that would be a no.
It's the other
Vote
way
with the chair,
around,
that's a
sorry.
yes.
It's the other way around, if you may clarify that.
It's sustain the chair's opinion. It's
No,
sustain the
a
chair's
yes vote,
decision.
a yes vote is for your appeal. A yes vote
No,
is your.
that's not the way it's worded in Robert's rules. Can we just decide, or just agree that yes is agree with the chair, no, a no vote agrees with me?
Okay, here's how we're going to move this forward. Okay, if you vote yes, that means you want the agenda that your executive committee put together. And if you say no to this motion, to the appeal, that means that you want a category specifically open-ended that says new business.
For this
So,
agenda.
for this agenda, for this agenda.
Do we know what the new business is?
We do not know what the new business is. It's just open-ended. So yes means to sustain the agenda, and a no means to add an open-ended new business on this agenda. So, all ready? Okay, if you say yes to sustain the executive and the current agenda, I'd like to see you say yes or raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you say no, I'd like to see your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the appeal fails,
I
and
thought we had 13. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
yeah,
Gloria
I
got
don't
here.
vote.
Gloria got here.
I don't
Gloria got here.
vote, so.
No, Gloria got here. That's,
Okay, so now the appeal fails and your agenda is before you. I like a motion, or he made a motion, so we're back to the original motion and seconded by Councilmember Musson. So if this is your desire to continue with this, I'd like you to signify by raising your hand. This is the agenda, the agenda.
Are you asking for any changes to the agenda? I have a change.
We're not there yet. Okay, so there was a motion made, and you asking for a change to the agenda. And what is that change?
I have an announcement about reading partners. I don't know where it should go, whether it should be a census tract report or a community report. It's just-
Okay, council members, thank you so much. We will add a 7.2 to
It's
the.
5.2.
7.2, which will be Census Tract Report 4601, that will be presented also today. So that is the agenda.
Not a change to the agenda, but I will be presenting for Judy Matthews under 41st Assembly Local Government Advisory Commission.
Okay, got that. Okay, the changes are item number 6.5, which is the 41st Assembly Local Government Advisory Committee. It will now be presented by Councilwoman Ann Lanson. And on the agenda, item number 7.2 is added for Census Tract Report 4601. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? All right, now we get
Did
started.
you ask for abstentions, though? Just making sure. They would
Any
abstain?
abstentions? Okay, so it's unanimous. All right,
Oh, sorry, I abstained.
okay.
Actually, I know, I vote no, I'm sorry.
Okay, so there is a one no, and okay, one no and 12 yeses. Okay, the chairman's report. Well, let me start with something that is really great. We had the community hiring event, which was a huge success. The event started at 8:30 this morning. I was supposed to start at 8:30. By 7:50, when I arrived at the community center, there were people already lined up right here. So by the time the doors were open, there were just so many people. By 10 o'clock, the company that was hiring ran out of applications. So that means that our people, Altadenans, are really serious and they were looking for a job opportunity. By the time that they left at 3 o'clock this afternoon, there were more than 300 people interviewed that submitted the application. So it was a great success. So I say thanks to the council members that supported this project. So one under our belt. It was a great success, even to the amazement of the people that came to give us the opportunity to hire our people. Well, there's also something that the community needs to, I'm sure the community is already aware of it, and that is the Altadena Town Council and the community is already aware or have heard of the riots, what's going on there. Yes, it is true. Yes, riots will be closing its doors. So I'd like to read just a statement that the Altadena Town Council joined other organizations within the Altadena to issue something to the community, a statement to the community. So I'll just read it. Both the Altadena Chamber of Commerce and Civic Association and the Altadena Town Council are aware that Rouse Grocery Store has announced they are closing at the end of this month. As a result, there has been considerable discussions regarding what will eventually replace Rouse at 2270 North Lake Avenue. The Chamber and the Altadena Town Council have reached out to the parties involved in the decisions. And Ed Myers has been in touch with both the property owner and Rouse local headquarters. Based on the conversation, we can only tell Altadena what we know, the facts that we are aware of. Number one, we are reconfirming that Rouse is closing at the end of this month. Number two, Rouse is subleasing the property to another tenant. Number three, the tenant's name is currently unknown to us. The information won't be available until an actual contract is signed. Neither the chamber nor the Altadena Town Council have had any input with respect to the choice of the tenant. The property will be occupied by a single tenant. We are told the tenant is in the retail industry. We expect to receive more information. Of course, we'll pass it on back to the community as more information becomes available to us. So at this point, that's the much that we as your town council know regarding what is going on with the Rouse stores. Okay. We're not there yet. I'm still making a report.
You got real quiet.
I'm trying to get it organized here. Okay, well, you know what? I'll leave it at that. That will conclude my report. All right? Okay, and what's your question?
Okay, the vote that we just took was, you said was for this agenda, right? My question is, will future agendas have an area on there for what she was requesting? Or are you saying that new business, anytime we have new business, that comes under special presentation? The way this agenda is set up. I just need clarification on that.
Thank you so much. I think I'll address that off record here because we are moving forward to other agendized items. We've passed that, if you don't mind.
So you're going to address that at the end, you think? At the end of
I will. It may not be. It may not be right now. So again, let's leave that alone because we need to move this agenda forward. We have the community waiting. Thank you. All right, Vice Chairman's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Happy New Year to everyone. Since this is the first meeting, I did want to wish everybody a happy and safe New Year and enjoy yourselves this year. 2017 should be great for you, hopefully. The agenda that was, if you'd like to, I won't go back to agenda, if you would like to be on the agenda, let me say that, please contact myself, Okorie, Pat, Billy, or Judy on the Monday, the second Monday of the month, and identify to us what you would like to present on the agenda or why you want to be on the agenda, and we will discuss that. Additionally, there's comment cards in the back. I thought someone may have had a comment card. Does anybody have a comment card? Because I didn't receive any. If you would like to speak at the end of the meeting, you'll be entitled to a public comment of 2 minutes. All you have to do is fill out a comment card, present it to one of the council members, and you will be able to speak. And with that said, that concludes my report.
Thank you so much. The recording secretary's report.
I'm handling the recording secretary for Judy Matthews. Council members, the Judy Matthews submitted to you the proposed December 2016 meeting minutes. And I do know that she indicated to me that she received, and I did see her email, she asked if anybody had any comments, concerns, or questions, please email her. She did indicate to me that Justin did email her with respect to some typographical errors that were needed. Those typographical errors have been made by Judy, and so with that change, does anybody else have any corrections or no? With that change, the typographical errors were with respect to names of individuals and with respect to a website parks recreation address. So with those changes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the December meeting minutes, and let me be more specific, the December 20th, 2016 meeting minutes as amended.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposing? Any abstentions? One abstention. Two, sorry. Okay. Welcome back. All right, Treasurer's report.
Okay. What I have here, I will make it very brief, is the report for the year 2016 for the council's account. Our initial balance, I'm leaving off cents, and in case people want to write down numbers, this is going to be Exhibit A for the minutes this week, so it'll be attached to the minutes, so you don't have to write it down. The balance at the beginning of the year 2016 was $1,764. We received $778 in two areas. One was the donations that we get at the at each meeting, which was $463. The fees that candidates for the town council pay when they run for re-election every year, that was $315, so our total income was $778. Expenses for the year came to $346, which consisted of service charges from the bank of $39, website maintenance of $18, business cards for council members, $46, and the new badges for the council members of $244. So the balance at the end of December was $2,195. And that will be attached to the minutes as Exhibit A. So, oops, as soon as I give it to Damon. And that's the end of my report. I will pass the can around so you know that the donations that appear on the statement, this is where they come from every year. Every
month.
Every month, thank you very much. And that's it.
Okay, thank you so much. Moving on to the corresponding secretary's report, Councilmember Malone.
I'll make it short and sweet. Just a couple of things I just want to bring to everyone's attention is that the homeless count is happening this Thursday, Tuesday, next week, 1 week from today, the homeless count. I did volunteer. I went on to see how many people have signed up in the census tract, and we're very short. I mean, within Altadena, we're very short. I'm not sure the exact total is needed. Is like 40, and I think we're up to maybe 20. So if
Last I heard from Law said it's 21.
21? Okay, we're up to 21. So we're desperately short. We need teams of 4 people going out, especially at night. It's a wonderful thing. I've done it before. Gloria's done it before. It's enjoyable. It's teamwork. It's for the community. So please consider it. If you want information, you can find it on the ATC website, and then just follow down or punch in LA County. Do you have the name of the website?
It's you can go to LAHSA, www.lahsa.org, or you can go directly to the Count website, which is theycountwillyou.org.
And if you don't remember that, if you Google it, you'll find it. The other thing I wanted to mention briefly, quickly, it'll come up under the, or I'll be talking about it too, under the Chamber of Commerce, but only because I think this is something that pertains to everybody. I'd like to bring it up front right now. There's our new supervisor, Catherine Barger from LA County, is going to be having a power breakfast, which everyone's invited to, at the Town and Country Club on Thursday, February the 9th, 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. It is hosted by the Chamber, so if you are a member and standing, it's free of charge. To everybody else, it's a nominal fee of $8 just to cover the breakfast. So if you're able to, because we expect it to be quite full, it will be limited numbers. So get your reservations in as soon as possible, and that can be found. The information to find on that you can find on the chamber website, but I'll give you the phone number right now, 626-794-3988, or you can contact office@altadenachamber.org. But that's a good one to go to, so I wanted to bring that up front. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me just, did the council, every council member get some information, a letter from our new supervisor?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll make it available. Basically, what we have here is that recognition as well as the offices and the representatives, so, okay. I'm sorry?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay. So I'll make it available to the council members. All right, public safety, and my voice is a little bit coarse because I'm just getting over this little cold, so. Officer Mike? Yeah, my voice is.
Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year. Hopefully everybody enjoyed a safe holiday. The problem I had last reporting in December, I told you guys I didn't have the stat reports for the previous year. That's the same for this month, but next month we'll be back on track, okay? So for the month of December 2016, we had 21 traffic collisions, 19 were property damage, 4 of them were injury, not serious, minor related. There was 1 DUI-related traffic collisions. I guess it was kind of I guess you could say a giving month for officers during the month of December, as they didn't issue a lot of citations. So if you're a motorist in and around the area, it was probably a good thing. So those statistics were down considerably. There was only 15 issued. There was one notable other DUI arrest, and that happened the night of the Christmas Tree Lane lighting ceremony. Yours truly was at Santa Rosa and Mariposa, at which time a pretty intoxicated motorist tried to drive through the barricades. If any of you have ever been to those events, there's a lot of people in and around the area, so we dodged a bullet on that one. Some of you, excuse me, some of you might have passed by a traffic collision this morning at Glen Rose and Altadena that was involving a vehicle and a pedestrian. I encourage everyone as much as possible. One of the main factors for traffic collisions in and around the area are unsafe speed and intersection right-of-way violations. The pedestrian was simply trying to cross the street, at which time somebody was trying to make a right turn. They got to the intersection, didn't really look left, right, left to see if it was clear, and as the pedestrian stepped off the curb, they were essentially scooped up by the vehicle, carried about 10 feet, at which time the motorist realized there's somebody on the hood of my car, stomped on their brakes, and the pedestrian was ejected onto the roadway. Fortunately for him, he was minor injuries. He was transported to Huntington Memorial Hospital. But I encourage everyone, take a second look before you go across that intersection, whether you're a pedestrian, a motorist, or on your bicycle. Last month, I'd reported that we were going to have Mark Garrett as our new captain. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. He took a promotion, so he's going to be an assistant chief now. So I'm sure he's pretty happy about that, and congratulations to him. For the time being, we're going to have as our acting commander Lieutenant Chuck Galecko. So if there's any pressing concerns and you need to get a hold of somebody at the Altadena CHP office, other than myself, he's the one to contact. The county recently gave us a new radar trailer, so we have 2. So aside from myself and Officer Cooper in and around the area trying to slow people down, we're going to have, just kind of that aid tool to try and encourage people to slow down. We can't put it out during the rain season because the clouds will cover the solar panels and the batteries will die. So we'll try and get them out as soon as the weather's a little bit better. And I think that was it. I talked to Judy Matthews this morning. She had some more concerns about speeding and intersection blockages at Lincoln and Altadena. And now that the busy season of Rose Bowl and Rose Parade are over, I'm back to my normal routine of patrolling the area. So I will get to those concerns for her and the others that you guys may have. So that's all I have this evening.
Thank you so much. Any questions for, okay.
Can you spell your lieutenant's last name, please?
Geletko,
I missed. Yeah.
and first name is Chuck.
Thank you.
Giletco?
It's pronounced Galetko.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
And then I will let you know when we do have a permanent new commander.
Thank you so much.
Have a good night.
Altadena Sheriff Station, Captain Stocky.
Good evening, members of the Town Council and guests. Hope everyone had a great holiday season, and I want to especially thank each and every Town Council member as well as the community members for their donations that helped the Altadena purchase toys and food items for families in our area. Due to your generosity, we were able to supply 300 families with food and toy baskets in the Altadena area. Most of those names came from counselors and teachers from the local Altadena schools. On another note, many of you are aware there have been a couple of shootings in the Pasadena area. Please know that I have been kept apprised and briefed on all the incidents. Periodically, when I see a spike in these and other types of crimes, I will add additional staff to complement our patrol area. Pasadena PD has done a phenomenal job Pasadena PD has done a phenomenal job during this time, making significant arrests also. All of the recent investigations are active, therefore, I cannot share any information with you. But I wanted you to know that I am kept apprised of it, and I do send out additional field units when we have a spike in various crimes. I want to thank you for your continued support throughout the year, and now we'll have Lieutenant Octave to discuss our December 2016 stats, unless you have questions. Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the Altadena Town Council. I'd like to wish everyone a happy new year and a happy 2017. When we mention our crime rate, what we mainly refer to are what's called property crimes. Part 1 crimes. Part 1 crimes are comprised of property crimes in addition to violent crimes. They generally are up countywide, and those are mainly our thefts and things along those lines. Our overall crime rate for December 2016, we had 0 homicides. Of course, 1 homicide is always 1 homicide too many. We had 0 rapes, 0 arsons. We saw a large decrease in our Part 1 crimes overall. It went from 26 to 17. Also, our vehicle burglaries did decrease from 15 to 9. We did, however, have several robberies. One was an armed robbery, and the other were what we refer to as strong arm. Didn't involve a weapon other than bodily force. We had 1 domestic violence incident. Our residential burgs, which fall, those basically are what drives the numbers up countywide in terms of Part 1 crimes. But I will get into the specific census tracts and give you a report individually on those. We also had a very, very slight increase in our Grand Theft Autos, also known as GTAs. For the month of December 2016, our narcotics arrests increased. Typically speaking, when narcotics arrests increase, normally when you arrest a person that is using narcotics, that sometimes leads to a reduction in burglaries. And what we've done as a station and attempting to do as a division at Altadena is we're reaching out to some of these offenders and giving them help to help them recover and offer them various resources. We started those efforts very recently, and we're going to continue those efforts because our goal is to assist and provide the best service possible. Census Tract 4601, we had an overall increase in crime from 6 to 12. That was mainly due to our residential burglaries. Census Tract 4602, we had a slight decrease. It went from 6 to 5. Those crimes were comprised of 1 residential burglary, 1 vehicle burglary, 1 burglary other structure, 1 larceny, and also 1 shoplifting. Census Tract 4603.1, we also had a decrease from 6 to 4 of these crimes, and they were also the larceny thefts decreased from 5 to 2. Census Tract 4603.2, we had a huge decrease. We had a total of 8 for the month of November. For the month of December, we had 0. Census Tract 4610, we had a slight increase from 13 to 15. This was mainly due to 2 aggravated assaults and the robberies, which I mentioned a little bit earlier. Census Tract 4611, we had a slight increase from 7 to 10, and that was due to aggravated assaults coupled with 4 petty thefts as a result of unlocked vehicles. We did have 1 significant incident which occurred in Census Tract 4611, December 10th, near the area of Alameda and El Molino. We had a shooting. During that shooting, the victim, there was a round fired, and the round went through, I guess you could refer to it as the bun of the victim's hair. Thankfully, the victim was not injured, and no one else there in attendance at the Christmas event sustained any injuries. I'm happy to say that with the work of Altadena Station in corroboration with LAPD, the suspect in that case was quickly arrested, and he was held to answer on charges of the illegal shooting, along with various other charges. Census Tract 4612 also had a slight increase. This was mainly due to the vehicle burglaries. The main, I guess, what we call MO or method of operation in terms of those burglaries were a shattered window. And I'll reiterate some of the safety rules pertaining to vehicle thefts, just as I conclude here briefly. Census Tract 4613 remained at 8, but we did have a slight decrease in overall thefts. Whenever we have a decrease in thefts, I always say law enforcement cannot do it alone. We do need the help of the community. So we say something, and it's all of us working together. So whenever there's a success, we also attribute that to tremendous help from the community. So keep up the good work. Thank you. And lastly, I just leave you with some reminders. Although the holiday season is over, just some reminders in regards to vehicles and minimizing the amount of thefts that take place. Do not leave valuables inside of the vehicle, i.e. purses, wallets, laptops, computers, gym bags, jewelry. Please do not leave those visible because I always assume someone is watching, but I hope they're not watching. Always remove GPS devices and related accessories from your car. Close and lock your car doors, windows. Make sure you activate your alarm. Roll up the windows. If you're having a package delivered, try to leave it with a neighbor and keep a watchful eye if you are expecting a package to be delivered. And with that, I open up for any questions.
I just want to mention one thing. You said, obviously everyone's concerned now with package theft, especially with the holidays just gone by.
Yes, sir.
If you don't have a place locally for work to have it delivered, there are actually places you can have it delivered to. There are businesses like that deal with mail, like Hoopla and some other private businesses, where you can actually just make arrangements with them at free of charge, and they can have it delivered to the business, and you can pick it up there. It's just another safe way to get your packages for anyone that maybe doesn't know that.
Sir, thank you for that.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, I'll recognize 3. Any other one after that? So 4. All right, so let's start from my right, Council. I know, let's start from my right.
I know every time you're here, every month you're here, you talk about if you see something, say something.
Yes.
And I had my own occasion, but I've also heard in my neighborhood that sometimes when we call, the person that's answering the phone, and by the way, I know you record those calls, and I know that someone will go back and look and listen and talk to a person if you, I guess I want to make sure everybody knows that they can call the station and say, look, I
Absolutely.
don't think I got a good answer, and so then you guys will go back and look. But sometimes they just are really not, I mean, I called a couple weeks ago about a stranger that was sitting out in front of my house with a truck that had been there for a long time, and I didn't understand what he was doing, and got the, well, what do you want me to do about it kind of thing. So, you know, and so I think we really, 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 really want to encourage everybody to call on anything. I mean, that's
Absolutely.
the only way we're going to do this, right? Is if everybody just knows that they're not going to get pushed away when they call. So I know you guys are working on it, but I also want everybody to know if you don't get the right answer, call back.
Absolutely, and along those lines, please ask for a supervisor. If you're ever not satisfied with service, we emphasize very, very consistently public demeanor. We want to make sure we deliver the best service possible because that's what the community deserves.
Right.
So at that time, when that does occur, please ask for a supervisor. I have business cards. We're very accessible. My captain, our operations lieutenant. But please ask for a supervisor, and we will be glad to look into that issue. And we don't want anyone to feel like they didn't get the best service possible.
Well, and I think it's really, really, really important that, especially as we go forward into the new year, that you just don't feel badly about calling and saying, you know, and saying something, right? So
Absolutely.
everybody don't be daunted if you get a bad answer the first time. Okay, sorry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Councilmember Hobdy.
Oh, thank you. I ask this almost all the time, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but is there any update on the gun buyback program? I know Captain Stuckey mentioned last time that there was a funding issue, and maybe I can do something as a council member in my area because I know we have these increased shootings, and maybe that would help or assist in anything.
I'm working with All Saints Church, and probably next month, I will have an answer for you. Our department has changed some of the rules and regulations regarding that, so I'm also waiting from downtown to get the rules. But I do have a meeting the end of the month with All Saints because they're going to partner with us. But I may come to you asking for some permission for a location to host it.
Okay.
But I will keep you informed of that.
I really appreciate that. Thanks.
Okay?
Okay, there's more question from Councilmember Vega.
It seems like in the last 6 to 8 months, we've had an increase in shootings here, there, throughout Altadena. Just wondering, is there increased gang activity, or what do you attribute this to?
Actually, there's been a decrease. The last time we actually had a shooting incident where we actually had a victim that was struck was that the December 10th incident, and that was, didn't make contact with the victim's skin, thankfully, but there has not been an increase. But we do work in hand with our Operation Safe Streets deputies. As my captain mentioned earlier, we work hand in hand with Pasadena. But in terms of that, our deputies are very aware of when there is an increase. And we deter crime through high visibility and through saturation patrol. But there has not been an increase.
Well, with all due respect, prior to the little boy getting shot, we didn't have shootings.
Yeah.
And so since when was that, July?
Yeah, that
July.
was July.
Yeah.
But since that time, it's decreased.
But it was nothing before that.
Yeah.
So just an FYI. I know you're new, so by the way, we're not, but yeah, if you go back further than that, we maybe had, what, one a year or not even any a year? One every couple of years?
Yeah,
But not in the past year. Okay. Yeah, anyway, just
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
It may be down since July, but it was way up starting in July. So anything after July is more than we had.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Councilmember Musson?
So I was looking at our stats in 4610, and we're up 2. If you take away those 2 and go back down to 13, we're still the highest this month. What's going on in 4610, and what can we do to try to push our numbers down the right direction?
And that's a great question. There were no trends or anything that we can link to any type of a pattern. So when that does happen, we identify those areas and we identify the actual times in which they occur, and we saturate those areas. So we hope to bring those stats down. We have a hard-working detective bureau. Our detectives are working hand-in-hand with patrol. We'll continue to do that, and I'm confident that next month we'll report back to you with a different result.
Okay, thank you.
One moment. Just one question for you regarding his question. Has anything happened with the fitness center? Is there anything coming out of that? Because
that's a great question. I'm glad you asked that question because the incidents that have occurred there have dropped very, very good, dramatically. We've met with staff over there. And while I can't reveal all of our tactics, I can tell you, I can assure you, there has been a decrease in incidents, specifically at that location.
Okay. Thank you. Councilmember White?
Councilmember Vega raised my question. Thank you.
Oh, okay. All right. Councilmember Sanyika?
Yes, I noticed that when I'm driving through 4610, I noticed a lot of, I guess you could say, homeless activity going on and transient activity. And right across the street from, was that Super King? There's always, right in that little area, just lots of trash and, what do you call that? Shopping carts with people's belongings in them. And there's always just a lot of that kind of stuff there. And is anyone kind of, I guess, monitoring that area? That could be why there's a higher incidence of activity going on.
We try to spread our patrols out evenly, but however, once an issue does arise, we do focus on that problem. So I thank you for bringing that to my attention. And if we haven't already done so, and this is the first I've heard of that particular issue, I'll make sure that we get some units over there.
And it seems to be concentrated. There's a place where you recycle your bottles and things, and there just seems to be a concentration of stuff there. People's belongings, they just kind of leave it there all over the ground in the shopping carts. At one point, they were in the street, and I got a call from some residents in my census tract. I just went over there, got in my car, and just pushed it over. But I did talk with someone from your department, and they did say that if someone's personal belongings are in those shopping carts, they don't move them. So.
Okay, I think that's it. And we thank you so much. I'm not missing anybody? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next one is CERT. Do we have anyone for CERT? All right, moving on. County Fire. Actually, I did not add that to the agenda, but we do have Mr. Bob Haskell that is going to be reporting for the County Fire. Can you take that note? Haskell, H-A-S-K.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the council, and residents of our community of Altadena. My name is Battalion Chief Bob Haskell. I'm filling in for Stephanie English. And to start off with, for the month of December 2016, we had 4 structure fires. Out of that 4, 2 didn't amount to much. They were food on the stove. The other 2, one of which was fairly significant. It was the 99-cent store on Fair Oaks, right there at Woodbury. And that occurred on December 23rd. And It started right, if you're familiar with the store, as you walk in the front door and you turn right, the fire started right there, and we did call a code D for a determination of cause. There was about 275,000 dollar loss to the property, and $250,000 loss to the contents. So basically, the fire didn't burn the entire structure down, but the smoke pretty much damaged what the fire did not. So, and then, so that was on the 23rd, and then on the morning of the 25th, just about 100 yards down on Fair Oaks, just south of Woodbury on the west side of the street, there was a small commercial structure, and I think it was about like 6:30 in the morning. We had a small fire in there, and we were able to find the cause there. It was combustible materials, maybe clothes, something of that sort, up against the furnace, and that's what started the fire there. And the dollar loss was much less significant there. We had $20,000 lost to the structure and $10,000 lost to the contents. We had one car fire, 11 hazardous conditions, 4 hazmat incidents, 18 service calls, and 114 good intent calls with 26 false alarms. And then our EMS calls, we had 235, and I'll go over the larger ones. We had 11 abdominal pains, 18 altered level of consciousness, 24 behavioral disorders, and then 29 traumatic injuries. And altogether, that with the miscellaneous ones, we had 235. Any questions on that, on those stats? And moving forward, we're in the rainy season, so we're getting ready for that with training. And for those of you that don't know, for any type of swift water rescue, if somebody's in a moving body of water, we respond 5 engines, a helicopter, our urban search and rescue crew, and a special swift water team. There are a lot of people coming on that type of incident. So we've been training with all those resources to get ready for that. And I think you've seen a couple on the TV news already. And with the first of the 3 storms coming our way tomorrow night, we'll be staffing 2 patrols in our battalion, which is Battalion 4. We staff one over there on the over near Sutherlen, Tahunga area, and then we staff one here at Fire Station 66 in Eaton Canyon. And those are extra bodies, extra personnel. We put 1 captain and 1 firefighter on each of those patrols. So we're expecting 4 to 6 inches of rain over the next 5 days. And I'm sure you've been watching the news. We're going to get quite a bit of rain these next 5 days. And also to the community, if you need sand or sandbags, visit your local fire station. Rarely do we run out, but if we do, we'll point you in the right direction to the next closest fire station. So we'll take care of you. Any questions? Yes, ma'am?
Do they know what the cause of the fire was at the 99 cent store?
You know, that's under investigation, and I don't know yet. I knew the other one, that's why I stated that. But when we have a fire, the captain walks the fire with the on-duty battalion chief, and if they can't come up with a definite cause, then we call our investigators. And then once they get it, it usually takes a little bit to figure out.
Because they had a fire there about 5 years ago.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just ironic that we had 2 within a couple days of each other. So. Any other questions?
Okay, thank you so much, and good to see you. Will you be coming?
I'll be here and there between me and Chief Heisel. I don't know, as you know, or maybe you don't know, Stephanie English took another job.
Right.
So we're actively looking for a replacement.
Okay.
So I'll be back.
Thank you so much.
Okay, have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Land use?
Yeah, I do have a bit of a report for tonight. We had 2 presentations. We did not vote on any items. 2 presentations at the Land Use Committee, and I want to mention that we will be having these 2 projects come before us at the February land use, so if you're interested in learning or making public comment, please come to the meeting. The first one is Altadena Marketplace. Altadena Marketplace, as you probably know, is a place that's going into the Webster's location. That project goes in by right, but they have now applied for an alcohol CUP. So we had a presentation on that. There are quite a number of questions that are being worked on between now and the next meeting, so we probably will be reviewing it there at the next meeting as well, but we'll know as we get closer to the time. AT&T has opened actually 16 CUPs, but for 47 small cells that are going in around, all around Altadena. They will go into the public right-of-way, county land on county poles and such. However, they will be coming back to the meeting next month. Pat Sutherlen has maps that show where all those are going. That maybe you'll share more of, I guess, with people if they need them. Contact your council person because they have them. There's also a large effort underway right now to contact all of those that live near these sites, and they're really all over Altadena, so it's quite an effort. But I did want to make sure that we use this opportunity to let everybody know as well. We probably at the next land use committee meeting will also be voting on the Moto restaurant request for alcohol as well. Lastly, the land use committee has put together a small subcommittee, as we had mentioned to everybody, to look at possible conditions to put on the Lavinia project. That committee consists of Michelle Zach, Marietta Cruels, Damon Hobdy, Judy Matthews, Ann Lansing, Justin Robertson, and myself. So you can contact any of those people if you have questions or concerns. Marietta's representing the horse set. Michelle has quite a number of, she's very much into the historic pieces, the landscape pieces, the open area. We had a kickoff to discuss our next steps, and we have folks out from the committee contacting, sorry, I have a cold, contacting various areas of LA County to try to get some clarification so we can make some additional progress on it. But we've started that effort, so that's all I have.
Thank you so much. Any questions? Okay, the next one is Altadena Payment Committee, Councilmember Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't think I mentioned in last month's report that the fall-winter newsletter of Altadena Heritage had 4 articles on filming in Altadena and a sidebar. One of those articles was about the filming committee of this town council and was written by me. The Altadena Filming Committee had our consultative meeting with film pros at the end of last month. Some of the salient findings of that meeting were that, 1, location managers and producers are interested, as anyone else, in seeing that the parking restrictions on filming permits are enforced. They do not want their cast and crew parking on area streets. They are paying for off-site parking, and they want that to be used. And they would like to have more help from law enforcement in enforcing such parking restrictions. Altadena is popular for location filming in that there are many types of homes here. You can find a home to represent any part of the country. It's a kind of anywhere USA. What may be keeping filming down in unincorporated areas of LA County is the high Department of Public Works fees. Good location managers try to avoid overusing the same homes for shoots. One that we talked to actually asks Film LA how often a home she is thinking of using has been used in recent months. So there were some pleasant surprises in our meeting with film professionals. I would like to remind everyone that the committee will be putting on a town hall on filming. We're assembling a great panel that will be able to answer questions and listen to concerns. Tuesday, February 28th, 7 p.m. here at the Altadena Community Center. Thank you. Yes. 7 p.m., right here.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Carmen. Any questions, comments?
I have actually one quick thing. And you may have come down Altadena Drive tonight. There was a big film shoot there. I thought they were putting trucks on one side of the street and then cars somewhere else because they were parking on the,
Yeah, you're right. I saw that also, and I saw the congestion, and there was actually traffic backed up at Porter and Altadena Drive westbound.
right.
And I put in a call to Sergeant Waterman and mentioned that the cars parked on the one side of the street were probably cast and crew, and they're
Right.
not supposed to be parking on area streets. And another member of the committee told me that there was cast and crew parking on Porter as well. And this is a really tough problem to enforce because law enforcement says they don't know if those are cast and crew parking or residents parking. And we need to either have a way of distinguishing that or marking everything no parking. And if you mark everything no parking, it's not great for the residents.
But we have
But,
law enforcement there, though, right? There's either
There's law
CHP
enforcement there, but unfortunately, they don't really help as much as the location managers would like in controlling the parking.
Well, maybe we can have that conversation too. Because it
So-
seems like, I mean, I waited for a limo to pull in. I don't think that was a resident. I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
But we're scheduling a meeting with law enforcement to go over some of these things.
All right, thank you, thanks.
Thank you so much. Community reports, some excitement. So Mindy Kite.
Good evening. So let's see, here is the newsletter. There's a really great article right on the cover all about the Phase 1 renovations. So hopefully you'll have time to read that, and I'll talk about that a little bit in a minute. But I wanted to talk a little bit about our statistics because I don't usually talk about that here. But in the last month, our circulation was up 4% at the main and 14% at the branch. Our circulation at our branch has been going not steadily, it does a little up and down, but overall has been going up and up every single month now. And the branch has been used, is being used more in every single way, but definitely in circulation, which is checking out of materials, and Main too, but not as drastically. And basically the trend in libraries nationwide is a fall in circulation. So, and after any type of renovation, you can expect a 30% increase in usage of your library and circulation. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when we reopen in May. New library card registrations were up 18% year-to-date for the district, and so that was, I think, let's see. Yes, 18% for the district. In November, they were up 33% at Main, 8% at the branch, and in December, 32% at Main and 31% at branch. That's people coming in and getting library cards. This is a trend that has been going up now for 2 years. Holds on our items were up 63% in November and 105% in December, 76% year to date. That's when people request an item that we have that's not in right now, and then we notify them when it's in and they can come and pick it up. Passports were up 13%. That's a trend that's been going on for 2 years. It's slowing down a little bit. It was up 50% was the average every month for quite a while. Adult programming continues with an 11% attendance increase, and computer and wireless are now at a 25% increase year to date. and 84% increase in wireless usage at Maine year-to-date. So that's been going on for 2 years as well, that increase in usage of computers and in our wireless services, which are now showing speeds of over, and I don't know the technical terms, but if you could see my speed test, we just did a huge upgrade to our wireless so that the 1G that we have could be used by, I guess, if you have 1G, but the modems and the wiring and whatever can't handle it, then it doesn't matter. Well, we just upgraded all of that. So if you can see, like, download 311, upload 273, which is amazing compared to what it used to be, which was like, sorry, 48 and 4. Yeah, so it is amazingly fast. I'm pretty I'm pretty sure that there is nowhere in Altadena where you are going to get speeds like that, much less for free. So phase 1 renovation, we are on schedule. Earlier this month, the foundation gave us $75,000 to use for new flooring throughout the library. I'm almost done with the bidding process. Almost all the bids are coming in lower than estimated. We still expect to be closed for 6 weeks, starting the second week of March and all of April. But the branch will be open, we hope, for 7 days. I'll be taking that to the board next Monday to get approval for extended hours at the branch while we're closed. Second Saturday was amazing on Saturday. It was probably our largest ever, even larger than upstream. We had close to 300 people. The dance floor was so full you could not get on there and dance. And so many people came up to me talking to me and staff about what a treasure this library is and how welcoming it is to everyone, and providing everybody with the opportunity, to experience great things, explore and create. And this happens every second Saturday, but for whatever reason, this particular second Saturday was especially, so many people came. One woman even kissed me, so. Okay. Then we had our community conversations are going strong. We have quite a few set up for this month and into February. But we would love to have your input if there's a group of people or 1 or 2 or whatever in your neighborhoods that you feel would like to have their voice heard. We can put together a conversation for them in their, in their home, school, church, at the library, whatever. We do provide food, and we do have Spanish translation. So a few of you did ask for further information, which I gave you, and but I haven't received any requests from anyone for their neighborhood, any schools or groups, anyone in your neighborhood that you think would like to have input with. That's what we're here for. So we are also working on our 50th anniversary celebration. So the first big event is going to be June 10th, so please mark your calendar. That will be the grand reopening celebration. Even though we will be reopening right at the beginning of May, the celebration will be on June 10th. It will also be the start, the kickoff for summer reading program. We will have a lot of activities going on for all ages, all day throughout the library. We expect it will be even larger than the Latino Cultural Festival, and then we'll end the day with the second Saturday concert. We have a great band for that night, the Satisfaction Band. And then throughout this year, we will be having many events for all ages. And we have a fabulous committee of 14 volunteers, people well known in this community. They're putting together all kinds of great events, some fundraisers, some online things, and there should be lots of activities. So, any questions? Yeah.
Is this how the library is going to look after it's renovated?
That's how the library kind of looks already.
Oh, okay.
And yes, when the doors reopen, it will be all mid-century modern furniture. There will no longer be a mix of like 8 different genres or whatever you call furniture in there. It won't be high-end. You know, it'll be knockoffs and stuff and things that I pick up here and there, but it will look cohesive. And those are our colors, so it will adhere to our colors as well.
The June 10th reopening celebration, will that be all day, or what are the times for that?
The June 10th, that'll be all day.
Okay.
Yep, we'll have stuff all day. We'll probably have like different dance for teens and poetry and music and special events for kids and opportunities to create, and there'll be all different kinds of stuff going on all day. I'm sure we'll have food as well. And another thing about the library, when it reopens, there's going to be what we're calling a fab lab in there. So the 3D printers that we got from the grant, the Apple computers and all those programs and everything for high-tech types of stuff, those will all be out on the floor, and we'll have mentors coming and teaching those classes for all ages. So those no longer will be hidden away and only brought out for special occasions and only used for teens.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. LA Park and Recs. All right, not here. Chamber of Commerce, Councilmember Malone.
A couple of things. The first, I re-mentioned that the Power Breakfast on February the 9th. Earlier I gave you the information. Make sure you sign up for that and be there. That's a meet and greet with the new supervisor, Catherine Barger. On February the 3rd, we have the installation dinner at the Altadena Country Club for the Business and Citizen of the Year. We have Open Studios as our Business of the Year, and Elliott Gold is our Citizen of the Year. So please come and celebrate our community and celebrate these wonderful people and a wonderful business that do so much for the community. It's on February the 3rd. Tickets can be purchased online through the Chamber of Commerce. You can pay online or you can pay by check for the dinner. But please come. We want to honor these people. It is our annual installation dinner, which is where we do swear in the new Board of Officers for this year. But it is also about honoring the community as well. So the festivities start at 6. We'll probably have a presentation with the business and the citizen for the first hour, cocktail hour, and then we'll go into the program from there. And so all members of the Town Council, if you can make it, please try. Thank you.
And the food was actually quite good last year.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
So, I mean, it's at the country club, so.
Yeah.
You know, it's not rubber chicken.
Okay, thank you so much. Collaborate Pasadena, Councilmember Sanyika.
Okay, the Collaborate Pasadena meeting was held at the Flint Ridge Retreat Center on December the 21st at 6 p.m. We discussed and recognized the accomplishments of the Collaborate Pasadena for the 2016 calendar year. We decided who would represent the Collaborate Pasadena at the 2017 Pasadena City Council Pasadena Unified School District joint meeting that will be held next month of February. We determined what would be shared at the joint meeting. We reviewed we reviewed the progress made by the Communication Ad Hoc Committee on the Marketing and Communication Plan, and we provided input on the plan. We learned about the equity and access strategy and determined how it might inform the second shared goal. We decided not to make a decision on the second shared goal until the newly hired director comes on board next month. With that decision, the meeting was adjourned at 7:30 p.m., and I look forward to next month's meeting.
Thank you so much. Any questions from the council? All right, 41st Assembly, Councilmember Lanson reporting on behalf of Councilmember Matthews.
Thank you. As Councilmember Malone stated earlier, the Los Angeles Homeless Service Authority's annual homeless count will be conducted countywide in next week. Altadena's count will occur during that period on Tuesday, so a week from today, and the staging area for Altadena for the volunteers is going to be at Loma Alta Park. Assemblyman Holden generously donated to allow for refreshments for counters, and we would really like to encourage those of you who have not signed up yet and are interested to please sign up. This is a really important effort to count the people who are homeless, who are your homeless neighbors here in Altadena, and it's especially important this year because LA County is putting some real money behind homeless initiatives, so it's important to make sure that we know how many people are experiencing homelessness in our area so that we can get our share of what's available to assist those people to become housed. So if you are interested in signing up, you can do so at theycountwillyou.org, or you can go on the Altadena Town Council website. There's a link there. If you have any questions about that, you can contact me. I'd be happy to answer those questions, and my email's on the Town Council website as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I actually have a quick question.
Go ahead.
I know we're running late tonight, but can you, like, at a really, really high level, say what kind of things that you need people to do? Like, does everybody just walk around? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So there is a video that's much more specific that's available on LAHSA's website that talks about what the counters do. Okay. However, the gist of it is it's a visual count. So you don't go up to anybody and engage them. You actually just go around and go 1, 2, 3. Okay, I don't see anyone in this area. Let me go to the next area. 1, 2, 3, and you make hash marks on a piece of paper. Okay. So if you've never done a homeless count before and you feel a little intimidated, but you're interested in doing it, this is actually a great one to start with. Some of the other homeless counts do require that you go up and engage the person and ask them a series of questions. This one doesn't, so it's a great starter count.
That's good. Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
You said the assembly is at Loma
Alta Park.
Loma Alta Park, and what time? Remind me of that, please.
I believe that the assembling is starting at 8 o'clock, but let me confirm that.
I'm sorry, I signed up for that, and I think it starts at 6 or 6:30, and we actually go out and start counting at 8 o'clock.
Okay, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
I have a couple.
I'd like there's a way that you explain it. If you can explain it again because you have an experience, then you can make a comment.
Yeah, for those that, if you're nervous about going out and counting, then it's how me and Gloria did it before. You go in a team of 4. That's typical, assuming you can get 4 people. Most of it's done in the car. You drive slowly along because there's no need, because there's a lot of streets to cover. One person will drive, one person will navigate to make sure that you cover all the streets, and then 2 people will be in the back of the car looking either direction, making sure you're counting at a regular pace. When you reach parks or other areas where you might see somebody, again, you don't approach, but you can get out in those areas and walk, but you walk as a group with 4 people, with your team. So you're part of a team, so you don't have to worry or be intimidated that, well, I don't know what to do, I'm nervous about it, I don't want to go out at night and be alone there counting homeless people. You're in a team, it's set up in a way that keeps you very safe, and you're in a team with the other people will have that experience. So,
Actuality, when we counted last year, we were in groups of 3.
yeah, because we had lack of numbers again.
Right. So we were in
So
groups of
somebody double
3,
duty.
and we rode in the car. When we got to any park or wide open space, then we got out and we walked. We looked in the restrooms.
Yeah.
We looked in, in all the various corners, and then we just counted and we got back in the car. But you always stay in a group.
And you're not allowed to look inside tents. You can't go in the wash and look under the bridge. You don't go, look inside cars that may be parked. You're given clues on if a car may be a residency, but you're not allowed to interrupt their privacy, let's say, or even put yourself in an awkward position. So it's pretty well organized.
Yeah, and you'll be counting from about 8 until 11 o'clock
Wow.
at night.
Depends on how big your tract is and how far you have to go around. Some people
We were
did it in
done
a
at
couple
around
hours.
11.
Yeah, we had a big one.
Okay, the point that I'm driving to is please sign up. I will sign up, so you can put me down. So please sign up so that we can get this thing done.
Except with all due respect, I can't put you down. So go to theycountwillyou.org and make sure you sign up there.
Thank you so much. Okay. All right, the next one will be, I think we're down to the census tract and 460301.
Yes, me and Judy covered 460301, which is Northwest Altadena, and I have told the community that I have a commitment to keep roads clean, increase property values on homes. Towards that commitment, I have been in contact with Public Works to get signs out between the areas of Altadena and Olive and Altadena and Lincoln concerning the street sweeping. I've had complaints from individuals that cars have been parked in those areas during the times that the street sweepers come by. Obviously, they have to go around the cars and cannot sweep the streets. I've called, and my contact at Public Works, thank you to them, they contacted road maintenance, and road maintenance has now sent out a notice to all the constituents and residents in the area between Olive and Altadena and Lincoln and Altadena that in the fall of 2017, there will be parking signs and it will be enforced. And there will be no parking on the south side of the street on Wednesday from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. and no parking on the north side of the street on Thursday from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. And when I say enforced, I mean enforced by the Sheriff's Department. Your car will be towed or ticketed. So that is good news. It helps the property values. It also helps keep the streets clean. In terms of Judy, Judy had a report. She wanted me to let you know that, and I think Officer Mike talked about it already, but there was a continuing concern about traffic on Lincoln and Altadena Drive. The apparent concern is during the time of 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. when students are being dropped off and picked up from the school. The CHP is making every effort possible to prevent this traffic congestion, and speeding is trying to be enforced, and Officer Mike talked about that. Of more importance, I think, to the community, and I know Judy contacted Gloria and she's talked to me about it, is about the medical marijuana dispensary that's located at 3021 Lincoln Avenue. And there's concerns about that dispensary in terms of being proximity to the school and its off-campus facility, as well as students, et cetera. The hours of operation of the dispensary are from 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. And they've been parking, that is individuals who are customers of the dispensary, they've been parking in the liquor store parking lot. Judy has been in contact with Officer Octave and has notified him about this, and that issue is being addressed. I will let you know, as an attorney, I do know this, that although the proposition was passed for marijuana to be legal, there is still a for lack of a better word, I'll use the word moratorium on the businesses. There's some licensing issues that have to be worked out in the proposition, and those are not to become effective in until 2018. So the businesses that there are illegal, but the officers can't go in there and just physically close the business. There's procedures to follow, and the people can be cited for misdemeanor violations and things of that nature. So she is working on that, and I know she talked to Gloria about that. So that's my report.
Thank you so much. Before we, I got you. Okay, so we have 4601, Councilmember Carmen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My census tract report actually has something to do with census tract, something that's going on in census tract 4610. And that is the tutoring program at Jackson Elementary School. I tutor a third grader there in the Reading Partners program, and I got into that because of Councilmember Sanyika and the Collaborate Pasadena effort to get third graders who are falling behind in their reading catch up, because it's a critical time for readers to be up on their reading. If they don't catch up by third grade, I think they have a really hard time catching up later. And as I was leaving, the coordinator there at that site gave me several flyers to pass out to try to persuade my colleagues and friends to please consider tutoring. They still need more tutoring. Jackson has 39 children enrolled in the tutoring program. Their goal is to get 55 enrolled. So they need just 16 more tutors, at least, to handle these, to take on these children and help with their reading. I want to encourage you to consider volunteering. It takes an hour a week, and it's a very effective program. With my little guy, in September, he tested at mid-first grade level, and about 10 days ago, he tested at mid-second grade level. So I'm not his only tutor, so I can't take all the credit. He's got 2 tutors. But please pick up a flyer if you're interested, or if you know somebody who might be interested. I put them at the back of the room, or you could take this one. It's a very worthwhile program.
Perfect, that's excellent. So this is really for the community as well. So I hope everybody that is listening, Jackson needs some help and needs you, and help us out and help your community.
That's okay. This was, I wanted to ask Damon a question, but I can ask him afterwards.
Thank you. Before we adjourn, I'd like to use this opportunity.
Excuse me?
Okay.
You have a public comment, don't you? Okay. Now you know how it feels.
Okay.
Whenever it comes after you, because you forget.
Okay, we'll do this thing in just a couple of seconds. For the upcoming ATC election, I want to announce to the council that, no, this is the, I like to be ahead of what we normally do here. So the election chair for the upcoming ATC election will be Councilmember Sutherlen, and the pre-election will be June 6th, and the general election will be June 10th. So, all right, well, someone said June 10th. That was the day that the library is doing something. Okay, well, we'll work that out. We'll work that out.
Let's think about that, yeah?
Well, we did not know about this, so we'll work on that. Okay, a public comment. Any other public comments? Okay, we have one, and that will be, is it Mr. Goodfield? Goldfield. My apology, I couldn't read that. Okay, come on.
I'd like to make a comment in favor of Dr. Coleman. I was sitting here listening to Mr. Musson's ad hominem insults regarding Dr. Coleman, and it was making my blood boil a little bit. You guys don't know who we have here. Dr. Coleman was recruited heavily by Yale University, MIT, before she decided to come to Caltech for her PhD. Her entire career, she was a research scientist and is well known worldwide. And if you ever decided to Google her, you would be amazed at the papers she has written. And to sit here and hear Mr. Musson over here ad hominem insult her as he did, he should be ashamed. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much. All right.
Second. Fourth. Fifth.
Okay, so the meeting is adjourned, and it is 8:58. We still made it before 9 o'clock, so.